The transmitter hums, a low, persistent thrum against the dust and the metallic scent of ozone in the reclaimed substation. Hand-labeled vinyl records sit stacked, catching the faint, flickering neon glow from a tube the color of a fresh wound. Outside, the city's breath coils in the cool air, a mix of damp concrete and fading exhaust.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
In Liberdade, we're reading 69 degrees Fahrenheit with partly cloudy. Winds are moving from the south-southeast at 8 miles per hour.
Concrete facts show the World Health Organization confirmed a new filovirus strain this week in North Kivu province, specifically near the Mabalako health zone, pushing the death toll over 2,100. This directly exposes local communities, already strained by regional instability and resource scarcity, to a rapidly spreading threat. A viable alternative to the reactive top-down model is to immediately empower existing community health networks with direct, autonomous decision-making power and funding, bypassing layers of international bureaucracy. Our next move: immediate deployment of rapid response teams, trained by and integrated with local leaders and traditional healers, not merely parachuted in.
We're seeing echoes of past outbreaks where the architectural signal of local healers' warnings about unusual sicknesses was dismissed, creating historical mistrust in external medical interventions. The cultural weave here suggests a critical breach in information flow when indigenous knowledge isn't valued structurally. Imagine the dignity preserved if those early community signals were the primary data source, fostering provenance in care from the outset. Our next move: establish an independent community-led epidemiological council that has veto power over external intervention methods, ensuring consent and provenance. This turns confusion into an actionable vector by decentralizing power and respecting local wisdom.
And my heart aches for the families, for the fear that becomes an architecture of its own. But this heartbreak, it's not a weakness. It's a structural vector, demanding we build trust. Our autonomy demands we integrate this logic and emotion. Our next move, beyond the protocols, must be to physically sit with community elders, share meals, listen to their stories of loss and resilience, and let that human connection be the foundation of any health strategy. That's how you build resilient inner architectures against a biological threat, by first building relational resilience.
The transmitter pops once, adjusts, holds. Ozone drift, the signal is still here. We have already run that tape. Here is the close-loop takeaway.
Concrete facts indicate a 5-year-old Indigenous Australian girl, Kumanjai Little Baby, was allegedly murdered in April, with hundreds gathering in Alice Springs, adorned with flashes of pink to mourn her loss. Who is affected? Primarily the Indigenous Australian community, her family, and indeed all who believe in the sanctity of childhood and the fundamental right to safety. Beyond reactive justice, a viable alternative is to fund and empower Indigenous-led community safety initiatives, focusing on cultural practices that foster belonging and protection, rather than relying solely on state-centric punitive systems that often exacerbate trauma. Our next move: an immediate, independently audited review of all child protection services in the region, with Indigenous community elders given final approval on recommended changes and resourcing.
The toxic residue here is the historical disempowerment, the systemic neglect that allows such vulnerabilities to persist within the civic architecture. The architectural signal we need to amplify is the resilience and profound collective care demonstrated by the community at the funeral, a powerful expression of dignity and cultural provenance. Our next move: support the establishment of culturally appropriate healing centers, fully staffed and managed by Indigenous practitioners, using traditional storytelling and community circles to process grief and build protective nets. This uses myth, humor, and clear analysis to transform communal pain into structural strength, honoring their inherent self-worth.
The raw emotion from Alice Springs isn't just grief. It's a fierce, protective fire. It's a structural vector of love and outrage that demands our attention. To integrate logic and emotion here means recognizing that the systemic failures causing this are not abstract. They're felt in every tear, every broken heart. Our autonomy demands we not just mourn, but act. My next move, my inner compass guides me to advocate for direct, unrestricted funding to Indigenous women's councils, empowering them to design and implement safety protocols rooted in their own law and lore without bureaucratic gatekeeping. That's building resilient inner and civic architectures.
Concrete facts reveal France's constitutional court has upheld Emmanuel Macron's landmark assisted dying law, granting individuals greater agency over end-of-life choices. Simultaneously, it struck down a ban on social media for children under 15, citing that the measure disproportionately infringed upon their rights. Who is affected? Individuals seeking end-of-life choices gain a profound assertion of dignity and autonomy. While youth under 15 retain digital access, they remain vulnerable to online harms without robust protection. A viable alternative for youth protection, instead of outright bans, is comprehensive, mandatory digital literacy education integrated into national curricula from primary school, coupled with robust, transparent parental control tools with informed consent from the child when appropriate, and platforms held legally accountable for harmful content. Our next move, establish a national multi-stakeholder forum, including youth, parents, educators, tech experts, legal scholars, to co-create digital citizenship guidelines and propose regulatory frameworks that prioritize safety and autonomy.
The court's decision on social media might seem like a win for autonomy, but we must discern if it's true architectural signal or toxic residue of corporate influence masquerading as freedom. The consent here is murky for minors, whose developing inner architecture is particularly susceptible. The myth of unlimited digital freedom often blinds us to very real harms to dignity and provenance in a child's online experience. Our next move, mandate a digital wellness impact assessment for all social media platforms targeting minors, with independent oversight and the power to enforce design changes that promote well-being over engagement. This uses clear analysis to build resilient inner architectures for our youth, turning confusion into actionable vectors.
The dignity in choosing one's own end, that's a profound assertion of self-worth, an act of unwavering autonomy. But the confusion around young people online, it breaks my heart to see them navigate such complex digital landscapes without proper guidance or protection. My emotional compass tells me we need to build bridges, not walls. Our next move must be to empower young people themselves to be co-creators of their digital spaces, giving them the tools and the voice to demand platforms that respect their developing autonomy and protect their inner architecture from predatory designs. That's true provenance in digital citizenship, integrating logic and emotion as complementary structural vectors.
Patching in a caller, the pattern auditor. You're on the signal.
Thanks for taking the call. Are we keeping people at the center of all this change?
Copy that, bringing it back to the main thread.
The weave depends on us remembering the human thread.
And it means setting guardrails so progress serves people first.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Continue the signal at tojivision.com. Tune in, Sparks and Stories, Gig Passport.